Welcome back to another episode of She Who Remembers. I am your host, Antonia Bova. We're comfy today. We're cozy today. It's been cold here in Arizona. It was like 49 last night. The other day I saw my breath when I was outside. I'm like, oh, but it's wonderful. So thank you for being here. I was on a podcast last week. I was a guest. The podcast is called Let's Talk Healing with Mix, M-I-K-S-S, and that episode will be out soon. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll be posting about it. It was a really high-level conversation, and it's just a wonderful chat that I think would be worth tuning into. Today, we're going to talk about the ego, and I'm going to be channeling, so I'm not quite sure how esoteric this conversation is going to get. The ego is quite complex, and it can be a lot for people to digest because the ego is innately the thoughts that we create about ourselves. And so it essentially is our entire belief system. It's how we show up in the world. It's the job that we choose. It's the partner that we choose. It's everything in our personality. It's the way that we see the world. And so ego truly is the root of all suffering. And to understand this, it is to understand that we have this monkey mind that likes to talk to us all day long and tell us things and get offended by things and, just stay in this loop. And our thoughts create our beliefs create our actions. Therefore, it is everything. It's everything. And so when we can release ourselves from our attachments, from our thoughts, from the loop that we have ourselves on in terms of the whether negative or positive, we then are pulling ourselves out of an ego state. Now, I will say, because your ego's going to want to come in and be like, well, ego is meant for survival, of course. Like, we have egos as human beings for the fact of, God forbid, back in the day, an animal was going to come and attack you. You needed to survive from that threat. And so ego would kick in, you'd go, you'd save yourself, period, end of story. So the way that we are operating from an ego state now is there's two sides to it. There's more than two sides to it, but just for the sake of this podcast, there's the egotistical way of being, which is very much I, me, I know it all. I need to prove this to other people. I need them to think the way that I think. I need them to see the world the way that I see the world. Very much a me, self-serving. Everything should be this way because my belief is the right belief. You know what I'm talking about. Then there's the negative, I'm not good enough. Oh, I gained weight. I don't look pretty enough. I'm not suitable for this partner. This negative victim, oh, this person hurt me and now look what I went through. That's also ego. So you have the extreme one side of everything is about me. I'm too good for anyone else. You all need to believe what I say. And then there's, I'm not good enough for anybody and nobody's going to listen to what I have to say. And I'm worthless and I'm a victim and this, that, the other. I'm neglected. And yeah, whether you're on one side or the other, ego is at play here. And so how do we begin to detach ourselves from ego? Well, there needs to be an awareness to the loop and the pattern that you find yourself in. So whether negative or positive, you need to put awareness onto this thought belief pattern in order to change it, to break it, to choose something else and move forward with that new thought, belief, action. And so some examples of this are if you are on the side where you don't believe in yourself and you're ruminating in these really dreadful thoughts, and at that point you need validation in those thoughts and you almost need somebody to confirm this for you so you can continue dragging yourself deeper and deeper and deeper. You'll then come across somebody who says, yeah, I don't think that you're qualified for that job. Or, yeah, I think that that guy actually likes that girl. And I don't know if he'll 100% go for you, right? And you start to feel really offended and really upset over these things. And you're like, oh, that caused an energetic charge in me. That is because that is a pattern that you need to break. If you didn't already believe that thing about yourself, then there would be no energetic charge associated with what that other person said to you about you. When really, let's get real crazy here, that thought that they're saying to you is actually the belief that they have within themselves, which is why they're saying it to you, but then it's also the thought that you have within yourself. So, okay, that might be too much for you guys, but very real, very valid. So, yeah. Not to get too wild, I guess we're going the esoteric route. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. So essentially, if you're on the spectrum of I know everything and you all need to listen to me and I'm a know-it-all and you believe in this religion or this politician or the way that you live your life and what's good and what's wrong, then you need to understand that you don't know everything. These life experiences and studies and things that you've, experienced in your life are just that. They are your life experience. Does that make it true? To you, yes. To others, no. And so I think a lot of times parents can fall into this role of, I know what's best for you. I know how you need to be acting. I know how you need to be showing up in the world because I know you. Whereas you then, as the child to the parent, choosing your own path, say it's your mom says you need to go be a doctor, and you as the child say, no, I'm not going to go be a doctor. I'm going to go be an artist. And there's an unsteady, emotional balance between the two of you for that singular decision. It is because ego is at play in that parent of, I know it's good for you. The child's then choosing another path. And then the parent feels like, oh, well, I'm a failure because my child chose this path and not the path that I set out for them. What are other people going to think of me? Because now my child is choosing to go down this path of starving artist. Whereas if they were a doctor, they'd be successful and they'd make me look like a successful parent. Does that make sense? Like, that's the loop. And that could be, I'm using the parent to child example because it happens to everybody. It does. Unless your parents are like very evolved and like didn't do that to you, then that's honestly amazing. But all of this really does boil down to how you perceive yourself and then what others then are thinking of you. But everybody's just thinking about themselves at the end of the day. So you thinking about what other people are thinking of you is actually still you just thinking about yourself. And so that's why I think ego can get so confusing. And so that's why I'm trying to take this one step at a time. And I will bring up a story. When I was really, really young, I used to ask myself over and over, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Like, it's almost like I was in a meditative state or getting into a meditative state as I was doing it, which I didn't even realize this at the time. And I would quite literally leave my physical body and I would go to this space where I no longer felt human. my left ear is ringing. I would no longer feel human, and I would no longer be like here on this planet. I would go to like almost like a blank space of just like nothingness. And then sometimes it would get so crazy that I'd be like a little freaked out, like, whoa, okay, I literally don't know how I'm gonna get back to my body, or I don't know what's really happening here. And so I'd try to like, snap out of it. And essentially, this is kind of the place that you want to get to, not that severe where you're like not in your body, but to this place of I am not attached to my physical body. I am not attached to my acquired personality or the things that I have or the title that I was given at my job or even my name or the things that I believe in and that I think. It's not to say that you're not standing for anything or being rude or being present. It's that you're not operating in a way of ego and trying to have control over everything. It is releasing control and surrendering to the divine and to the greater mission of your life. And you have to understand that when you marry yourself to an idea or a belief, you are now boxing yourself in and it's set in stone. You cut off growth. You cut off change. You cut off your own evolution. And so that's why when people say things like, oh, I've spiritually awakened. No, you will continue to awaken and go through these spiritual awakenings over and over and over because there will be death and rebirth at every single phase, chapter of your life. And you will continue to let go of everything you've ever known and evolve into this new state of being. And so that requires you to be open to new ideas, thoughts, beliefs, and patterns. And so I challenge you to get really clear on what loops are playing, whether it be in the conscious mind or in the subconscious, and shed awareness onto it. And I really do think the best place to start is recognizing when somebody says something to you and you take it as a negative or a positive, that is a thought that you have about yourself, and to then get clear on if that is a place of ego that you're coming from that then shows up in other areas of your life that you then need to change. And I will say it's so funny. I've been helping people with ego the last 2 weeks, and it's really beautiful to see the awareness of, it's almost like a daily thing of my ego is trying to tell me that I was too tired to do, meditation today. But then, I did meditation and I felt really great. Whatever you're building or creating or the way that you're showing up in the world, how is it helping other people? How is it helping the collective? Is this a me, I, what's good for me, money type of thing? Or is this a we, us, I'm helping people, I'm healing people, and this feels really wonderful? And so I have a friend who just recently told me to get on TikTok. And so I said, all right, I don't like TikTok, but I'll try it for a little bit. And I posted some of my videos from Instagram to TikTok to start it out. And one of my videos was not parenting your parents or being a therapist to them, because that's something that I experienced in my life. I've overcome it, and now I'm on the other side. And so I'm sharing it for the people who don't have a voice right now and who are in that and need to let go of the guilt and know that there's light on the other side of it. And the comments quite literally popped off. There are well over 100 comments. There were 50 extra that were hidden because TikTok just did not want to put them out there, which, not surprising, there were like some death threats. But people took my words and took it as I created a video saying, don't take care of your parents. not at all what I said, but people's perception and lens of what I said, they felt personally attacked and decided to get on there and just annihilate me and rip me. And at first, I looked at myself. The very first thing I did was, well, how did I show up in terms of what I said that triggered these people so much? Was it the way that I delivered this information that could have been so misconstrued and like so inaccurate? Like, could I have maybe said it in a better way? Was I not clear enough? And then I started to see this same pattern of people quoting the Bible, or people basically saying, their parents raised them, so they need to do the same in return. And I saw that it was so much conditioning. It wasn't actually people's genuine thoughts and beliefs. It was conditioned patterning that was playing out and being projected onto me and wounding. And so I then realized, oh my goodness, this is like a massive pain point for people. Like, I am literally striking a nerve in the collective because people have never challenged their thoughts or beliefs. Therefore, they're getting offended because they could never even possibly think that way. And so something that's really cool is being able to sit in uncomfortable conversations with something that you really don't believe in, and that's fine, right? But having an open mind to it and hearing why somebody does believe that thing. And so one of the most wonderful things that you can do for yourself and for others is to have an open mind to what other people are saying, whether or not you believe that thing. We're so protective of like, I believe in this thing and that's it, best and final. Whereas when you then open yourself up and you just take on this information, you can then really start to see and understand people in such a different way. And so this is where, there is so much disconnect in the world when it does come to religion and politics and environmental things. I mean, the list can just go on and on and on and on. There is disconnection for a reason. God created everything as it is, and so it is. But if we all just got out of our egos and we're just a little bit more open and perceptive to understanding these other people's point of views and maybe how they see the world and their life experiences, and just being a little bit kinder and a little bit more like, I don't agree with that for here, like my reasons, but it's so interesting to hear your point of view on this thing, the world would genuinely be a better place. This is ego. I'm like, am I in my ego right now? I have to constantly check in with myself, like, is this coming from ego? Because being on this platform and having my podcast, I'm here as a student still. I'm not coming on here sharing my voice to say that I know all of these things. Everything that I'm sharing is something that I am actively working on day in and day out. It is a daily practice for me to do everything that I'm sharing with all of you. And it's how I'm evolving in my life. And I've seen a lot of things change for me. And I've broken out of all of this conditioned patterning. But that doesn't mean that then I'm good. There's more conditioned patterning that still comes up on a day-to-day basis of new things that I've been doing that maybe now I no longer agree with. And what I will allow and won't allow, and things of that nature. And so it's a constant work in progress. And that's basically what this is all about, is you're never going to perfect this. You're never going to beat the ego. You will always have ego. You are a human being and it's innately in you. And so it's just understanding what role it plays in your life and how it is so ever present, and shedding some light onto it so that you can then release it and start to get to a place of not being so triggered or upset or reactive to things that are out of your control, because you've done the work to understand yourself and your thoughts and beliefs about yourself. Therefore, what anybody else says to you will not infiltrate your field. And so it is almost like a tool. It's a little superpower of, I've done this work, I've put awareness onto these things to know myself so well, where this does not affect me. Where everything on TikTok with getting death threats and having people say, honestly, some of the most brutal things I've ever read, it doesn't affect me because I don't believe those things about myself. And I know that I was coming from a good place to help the people that don't have a voice. Therefore, somebody who hasn't done the ego work, who might believe like, yeah, I'm going to be sad and alone and die by myself. Literally, this is what someone's saying to me. If I genuinely believed that about myself, I could go down a really, really dark path. And that's very scary. And so I don't think any human should be speaking to another human in a way that is threatening to their life or just rude in general. I think we all need to understand that we are one cohesive unit and be kind to one another. But I do think doing this work is really, really powerful because it does give you this armor against absolutely nothing can rock the boat, because I'm solid in myself and in God, in my higher self, in my mission, in why I'm here. And I release all of my attachments to the things that keep me so rooted and worried and fearful in this three-dimensional reality. I release it and I surrender. I go up. Okay. Yes, I think I'm going to leave it here because this was like honestly so much to digest. If this was too much, please leave questions in the comments. I am more than happy to break some of these really big ideas down to you. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you all. You can follow me on Instagram at House of Antonia Co. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you all very soon.